Good morning. It's the Wall Street Weekly Wrap Up for April 20th, 2024. What a bloodbath it was this week. We'll talk about it. It was ugly. We have missiles coming from Iran into Israel. Israel does a minor three-strike back on it. And now it's quiet. Vote on Israel aid, Ukraine aid, Taiwan aid, the border, all today. So we'll see what happens. Let's get into it. Lockheed Martin, wow, $17 billion contract for a missile defense system. Of course, you can see it's gone up. It broke the trend. That's good. And if it passes all this aid bill, guess who's going to send a lot of weapons? The United States. And they're going to benefit, of course. So a lot of, defense contractors are watching today's vote because they're all going to get a piece of it. If it's going to be, let's say 70 billion in aid, they're going to get a chunk of it. So, chart's good. It's in an uptrend. It looks pretty good. Pays a good dividend too. And we're going to go into the next one is going to be Morgan Stanley. The banks came out. BlackRock had the best earnings at 16%. Then J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs also come around about 14%. Pretty good earnings for some of the banks like Bank of America, Citibank, not so good. Morgan Stanley went up 4.3%, so we're going to keep it. We want positive revenue. Even if the stocks go up and down because of this possible correction issue, and we're almost in. The techs are in corrections, so we want to sit there and be in the best of the sectors. And Morgan Stanley's got wealth revenues. Revenues went up 4.3%. Trend isn't good. It's coming up to a couple ceilings where it's got to break the tops at right over here and here, but I think it will. Once we get through the correction, we will be okay. And then the averages. I mean, we've taken a big hit. It was S&P just at the beginning of April was up 10%. We've dropped 6% on the S&P. Dow Jones is almost flat, and so we're going to see a lot of people, who are scared of any kind of war issues, go into bonds and stay there for probably another 9 months. A lot of people think, well, 5% interest rate on a money market, not so bad, no risk. And if you get a state municipal bond, you get no taxes on it, so that's even better. So there's going to be a lot of people looking at that way and say, well, I'm going to go away in May, or in this case, April, and just stay away for the rest of the year because I want to lock in my profits and I don't want to, be in a negative this year. That's not going to happen. I honestly believe we will be up better than 10% on the SP this year. So it's all on the records. 6 straight NASDAQ down sections. And I bring up cocoa. Man, cocoa. Remember I told people I'd buy chocolate because it's going up? Somebody found a lot of chocolate. It went down. It's coming down quite like a rock. So, you're going to see a lot of chocolate pretty cheap pretty soon. The indicators, crude oil, $82. A lot of people got it up a lot higher because they figured Iran and Israel, I think if they were a border each other, not 1,000 miles apart, it might be a different animal. But, it's kind of hard to fight a war where you got to go over a couple countries and, get to them, and it's not really you're going to do a land invasion because no really way to get there other than taking the seas. Gold still tough, 2,400. A lot of people buying the gold and stuff like that. And I put up the chart of SOXX because this is a company that mines copper. Copper is above 4. Look at that. That's a solid number. That tells me that people are building. And and I don't know how much copper the data centers use. I mean, we know they use some copper, but is it a percentage of 5%? We don't know. But FCX, it's been up. Gold's up, copper's up. They are benefiting. So another stock. Look at this nice slow uptrend. I like the nice slow ones because it's not parabolic. It's not going to, come up. It could go this way for years when you have that kind of an uptrend. So silver, $28. Wow. That's a good deal. I mean, I remember buying silver with our friends and stuff, $18 and stuff, $16, and people didn't want it. They're like, wow. But now it's going to run. The record is 50. We got to go back. We hit $50 in 1980. Then it went down for years. I always call it generation. Every generation, the 80s were the big run there, and then we had the big run in silver when it got up about $30, and then it came back down, and that's about another generation there. We're about 2 generations. We're due for a run. Goldman Sachs, I think it's had great earnings. You know, they were a mess. I mean, and it was a mess because they were doing all these things, or be everything, and you know, they're investment bankers. You know, they manage the money, they open up IPOs, and they're going back to the roots, and it's doing well. Quarter was good, earnings were good. You know, good revenue jumps, solid chart. You know, and it's good. You know, realistically, if you want to get into it, it's you know, it's Citibank, J.P. Morgan, BlackRock, or Morgan Stanley. Those are the big four, and we're in two of them, just you know, two. But Goldman looks good also. Here's the collapse of the semiconductors. ASML came out with revenues and bookings down. Wow. Remember, everybody's been going up. And maybe the semiconductor industry is not so much. And they beat up ASML. You know, this stock was almost $1,000, and they got it down to $850. So it's been, you know, high price stock. It's been expensive, but you know, it's coming down. Now, where's it going to break? 750 is a 200-day moving average. That's the number that if you want to buy, that's going to be a number to buy. It might go down, it might not. I don't, you know, this average has been pretty slow climbing. So I think it's, you know, we're just in a temporary correction. You know, everybody's waiting for NVIDIA because NVIDIA is the king. It's under $2 trillion. So the SOXX index, which had all the semiconductors, this week was the worst week. You know, I mean, it's just a bloodbath. Kind of almost like it was when John Joseph in 2000 said the semiconductors are overvalued, and it was like this too. So I mean, I'm not laughing because you know we own Nvidia, we own ARM, and we own the techs, and you know they're going to be a bloodbath, double-digit drops on these. But you know this is an issue again. Where's our support? Well, if you're at 198 and the support's around 183, you know you got a little bit more. You can go down maybe another 5, 6, 7%, and then it probably will hold a little bit, you know. And that's what people want. You know, when it breaks through these 50-day moving averages, the orange line here, there are people who sell. They buy it when it's hot, and now it's coming down, but you know, it's a big difference. You know, it's still up at about 220 to 183 for the SOXX. So I think the semis are in a correction phase. We're going to probably drop maybe 5% more, but that'll be about it, and we'll see. But you know, like I said, you know, the market can sit there and have all the plans in the world and does what it wants sometimes. DJT, you know, the True Social thing. This stock, you know, almost $80, drops down to $20 and something, you know, 25, and now it did a dead cat. This is what I call dead cat rebound. The question is, they can't sell yet. You know, they're under the usually sometimes 6 months hold to sell. They want to sell. They want to cash out on this thing. They came out. Remember, $4 million of gross revenue. That's nothing. That is nothing. There are people who make $4 million. This is a public company. And it lost $51 million. I'd like to lose $51 million and make $4 million, I guess, you know. I don't have to pay that money back, but look at this. Citadel Security, he's one of the richest guys in the country, you know, and he was in Chicago, unfortunately. We chased him out. You know, he lambasts, you know, the Nunes, who's the CPO of Truth Social, is a proverbial loser because he says, you know, they're shorting it, naked short. You know, those are violations. They're not doing that. The stock sucks. Why you would ever buy this stock is beyond me. It's called like hope and greed, you know, and I don't think it. These people are all going to cash out when they have the ability to sell. It'll tank like a rock, and it'll be like, let's say it's $36 now. It'll be $3 a year from now. This is not a stock that's got future. You know, if they made $51 million and they lost $4 million, that's a different animal, but it was the other way around. This is exactly the dot-com bubble of 1999. Stocks after stocks after stocks. I remember drcoop.com, the quarterly earnings, we grossed $40,000. We lost $2 million. I thought, oh, there it is. People are buying that stock. They ran that stock up from $8 to 48 to 0, you know. So just beware, you know, because we don't get too many of these what I call bubble stocks, you know. That's what I call it. It's a lot of hope comes out, not a lot of. You got to make money. If you don't make money, you might as well just say it's a fad and just, you know, you can gamble every day, get out on Friday and do that. But otherwise, week was bloody. Look at the reds everywhere. Healthcare, United Health did really good. It's really surprising. It's been in the doghouse all year. NextEra Energy, wow. Look at the utilities, all green and everything else. The consumer staples, Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble had good earnings and stuff, but You know, the Walmart side, no. The retailers, otherwise, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, everything else, you know, not so good, you know, and that's what we're running into. So there's not a lot of positive things in these areas. Hey, look at Tesla, man, 14%. You know, I think Tesla's, like I said, he wants to he wants to be on Uber slash not at Uber, Twitter slash X. He said he already was working 8 hours before he took it over. He needs to get back there because he's either too tired to manage it. You know, people liked him running the company. You cannot run the company and play with his social media and spend extra 50 hours or 40 hours extra on that thing and then try to run, all these other enterprises you're doing. So I know he spent 44 billion and it's probably worth, 8 billion, but I don't know. It's just not good. He's going to vote on his pay package. Should he get 55 billion? Really, I don't think other than stock options, which is really all you need in a company, they want to give him $55 billion. We'll see. And I was like, well, you give him that money, not going to the shareholders, and one of the worst performing stocks of the year. So it's been a tough week. We'll get through it. We always get through it. We're in there. We're not going to sell anything. We watch the earnings. Next week is the big earnings week. We got all the major companies, Exxon, the tech's coming out. So we're going to see how it is, and that's where we should bounce up. I see a positive one. And I'll talk to you next week. Have a good, safe, warm week, and I'll see you later.